Would you like your children to be resilient? That's what it means to be stoic. The ancient Stoics didn't have resilience coaches or resilience apps, but they did practice something called Stoic parenting. Now, it turns out that some of their methods are not only still practiced by modern-day parents, but in fact, it was some of these very methods that created the great Stoic philosophers. So if you want to raise resilient kids, keep watching for Stoic Parenting 101. Welcome to the channel. You know, Seneca said that children don't listen to what you say, they do what you do. But then again, Epicurus says it even better when he says, you can lead them to wisdom, but you can't make them wise. Both of these quotes are talking about the same thing. Your actions speak louder than words. And this is one of the first lessons we learn from Stoic parenting. It's also the lesson that every parent knows. Because how many times have we told our kids to clean their room or eat their vegetables, and then we see them doing the exact opposite of what we just told them to do? Because as human beings, we're all creatures of habit. And so if we want our kids to become strong and resilient, we need to show them what that looks like. We need to model that behavior. You ever hear people saying things like, "Oh, my kids will never go through what I went through"? Well, if you talk to any old person, they'll tell you that life gets harder the older you get. And yet most of us are living high-cushioned lives, which is why I think it's our duty as parents to prepare our kids for reality. And that doesn't mean being overly hard on them, but it does mean making sure that we raising resilient kids that can deal with whatever life throws at them. In the book Daily Stoic, their essay section called Parents of the Stoics, where the author Ryan Holiday talks about how Marcus Aurelius. He had a rule that when his son would complain about something that was uncomfortable or difficult, he would make him do it twice as much. For example, if his son didn't like the feel of the wool tunic, he would make him wear it twice as long as he didn't like it. Or if he didn't like the rough soldier's sandals, then he would have to wear them farther than he wanted to walk. He didn't allow his son to quit. And the reason was simple, because he knew that the world wasn't going to give him special treatment. And so he needed to be prepared. This concept has been coined as the art of tolerating the intolerable. I got to admit, when I read this story, I thought to myself, that's kind of messed up. But then I realized something. When my daughter wants to quit piano lessons because she's frustrated or she doesn't like the song she's working on, I tell her to keep working on it until she finishes it. And yes, sometimes she cries, but it's in those moments that she learns that life isn't always fair. That there will be times where she needs to suck it up and push through, and that quitting is never an option. And so if I want her to be resilient, I can't tell her that life will be easy. I have to show her through my own actions what it looks like to tolerate the intolerable. Next, we have the importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. In fact, in the book The Obstacle is the Way, Ryan Holiday writes that all of the Stoics from Zeno to Marcus Aurelius all met regularly as a group to practice self-discipline. They challenged each other to write better, to persist longer, to resist temptation. He writes that Epictetus used to challenge his students to stay awake all night to build a resistance to the allure of sleep. You see, when you put your mind to something, the Stoics believe that you should just go all in. And it's this idea that your willpower is a muscle that you can strengthen over time. As a parent, it's easy to let your kids watch TV or play video games or stay up late on their devices. But if we want our kids to be resilient, they need to develop self-discipline early. One of the best ways to do this is to hold them to a schedule. So set an alarm and wake up early together. Cook breakfast as a family and eat as a team. Make sure they're getting enough sleep and eating healthy. We even do weekly homework assignments in our family. I give them the assignment and they do it at the kitchen table while I cook dinner. It might not sound fun, but teaching them to plan and execute is a huge part of becoming resilient. So as parents, we shouldn't be afraid to hold our kids to a high standard. It's in those moments where they fail that they learn to pick themselves back up and try again. Number 3, don't coddle them. Coddling is the opposite of everything we've talked about so far. If we want our kids to be strong and independent, we can't treat them like fragile glass. A couple weeks ago, my daughter scraped her knee pretty badly. As soon as I saw it, I ran over to her, brought her inside, cleaned off the wound, put on a band-aid. But after I did all of that, I sat her down and I said, "Listen, if you fall and scrape your knee, it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna take care of you. But next time, I want you to be brave and come inside yourself." You see, it's easy to worry when we see our kid fall down and scrape their knee, but coddling them isn't helping them. In the long run, instead, we should teach them how to overcome these obstacles. Teach them to take care of themselves. Because in life, no one's coming to save them. And if we want our kids to be resilient, we need to teach them to rely on themselves. Next, we have the importance of service. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal that we should bring goodness to others and do good to people. Epicurus taught us that the greatest good is to do good to others. And both of these ideas are really important to teach our kids. As parents, we should make sure that we're raising kids that aren't just thinking about themselves, but instead are thinking about other people. We can teach them to do this by setting a good example. Show them how to be selfless and put other people before ourselves. Make sure that they're doing chores around the house and helping out where they can. And as they get older, teach them to volunteer. Volunteer as a family. And I promise you, your kids will learn more about themselves and their purpose in life by serving others. Number 5, practice gratitude. There's a story about Marcus Aurelius. He was visiting the city of Athens and he walked into the Acropolis. As he was walking through, he saw 2 young men. They were sitting on a bench, and as he approached them, they stood up and they said, "Hail, Emperor." And Marcus Aurelius stopped and he asked them, "Is there anything that you want from me?" And they said, "No, I'm sorry, we just wanted to remind you that you are mortal." It's a powerful story that reminds us to stay humble, but it also teaches us the importance of perspective. Life is hard. There's no doubt about it. But it can be harder for some people. When I was growing up, my dad worked for a homeless shelter. Every Christmas Eve, he would take us down there and serve the homeless food. And it was life-changing for me. I'll never forget the look on their faces or the gratitude they had. It made me realize how blessed I was and how grateful I should be. And that's what we should be teaching our kids. Gratitude isn't something we tell our kids to have. Instead, it's something we show them by example. Take them shopping for food for a local food pantry. Give them an allowance and then ask them to give a portion of it to charity. Teach them to see the blessings they have in their life. And that's the best way to teach them gratitude. So there you have it, 5 lessons from Stoic parenting that can help you raise resilient kids. But please remember, you can lead them to wisdom, but you can't make them wise. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.